Oma would have been quite a rural community back in those days. Was there anything your father or mother talked about, or grandparents, about living here at that time in the 1910s and 20s in the rural setting, or crossing the border? Or
oh, well, of course there was the sugar trains and all that to go to Bundoran, and people were coming back with sugar and coats, pockets and everything else.
And they're called the sugar trains because you were
bringing sugar back and butter,
which wasn't allowed.
And all that kind of thing. And I think my mother was of a nervous disposition because she would not, she didn't want to talk about home rule or any of them things at all at that particular time. I suppose my father thought plenty and said very little because he just lived his life helping people where he could, and if he couldn't, well, he wouldn't harm them anyway. And he was very interested in meeting all our friends, you know, and as I say, he lived with me for 16 years after I got married, and I don't think he would have been alive if we hadn't stayed with him, because when my mother died, he took it very badly indeed. And then I was getting married shortly after she died, and he said, "You won't be leaving me by myself." And she could come and live here, you know. And I said to my husband then, I said, if you don't come and live with us, well, you can't get married at all, because I can't leave him by himself. And I think really when our Stevie arrived, my father said to me, as soon as we brought him in, give that child to me. And I did that. And I think that's what kept him going. But, and he used to go down to the Legion there, and he would have a couple of drinks down there and that, but he still wouldn't tell you anything, only that you have to be kind to people, look after everybody.
I want to ask you again though about the sugar trains, because I think that's really interesting. So where did they go to and from? And
well, we had a railway station in Oma, and that would have went to Bundoran, and people would have had maybe 4 or 5 coats on them to bring sugar and butter and all that kind of thing. And people would have cycled over the border if they were anywhere near hand at all, and brought stuff back as well. I wouldn't be that familiar with the sugar trains and that, but there's quite a few plays and that have been done about the sugar trains, and nearly anybody could tell you a wee bit about it. And I think the biggest change that ever came to me was the loss of the trains. I just thought trains were a great thing, and my children, I took them to Derry and took them on a train to Port Rush or Coleraine or wherever, just so as they would know what a train was all about.